How to stop zoning out and live in the now. It's important to live in the now because it's the only moment in your life that is happening, that is real. So many of us miss out on our actual lives by existing in the was, the what might be's, the I hopes and I hope nots. So here are 5 tips on how to cultivate presence, how to practice presence, what to do in order to live in the now. Because after all, that is the only place where you can actually enjoy your life. The only place where you can actually experience and make change, if you want to, in your life is the now. My name is Georgina and welcome to Positive Movement, the place for you to learn how to think differently, move differently, feel differently, live differently, and ultimately, finally learn how to experience life the way that you actually want to. This mental time travel is usually totally unconscious. Like, I know you don't choose to go, I'm going to reminisce about this forever, for a day, a week, a month, a year. I'm going to constantly mull this over because that will be really, really fun. I know that that's not where you're at. In fact, you know that spending all your life living in the past or worrying about the future is actually causing you a lot of discomfort and perhaps even to suffer in some way because you're missing out on your life, or it's causing you a lot of stress, or it's just making you a little bit sad. The uncontrolled shoulda, woulda, couldas aren't fun. I know that from personal experience. And give me a hands up, like this video, or give me a thumbs up if you've experienced that too. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying never look back and never look forwards, because it can be useful. It can be useful in order to learn lessons, in order to plan, in order to have a goal. But spending a lot of unconscious, unconstructive time there is not beneficial. It starts to control you instead of you controlling it. So let's start with tip number 1. Switch on your senses. Get curious. Make an effort to see something new wherever you are. Look around. This is a really tangible practice that ensures that you don't drift off into the sticky web of mental time travel or mindlessness by engaging with your surroundings. So even if you wake up in the same room every day, which I'm assuming you do, what can you hear? What can you feel? What can you see? What can you smell? How do the sheets feel? How do the clouds look different out of the window this morning? Or on your commute, if you still have one, for example, you can notice something different on your route to work. Or what can you feel or what can you see that is different? And if you practice yoga asana, treat each pose as if you've never done it before, or as if it were the last time you'd ever do it, and you have to get really curious about how it feels and how you're moving your body. This allows you, this practice of switching on your senses and getting curious allows you to be fully immersed in the moment. So switch on your senses if you find that you've drifted off somewhere, or you're overwhelmed by thought, or you're worrying or reminiscing and it's causing you some discomfort. A personal favorite of mine is feeling whatever my feet are touching. So the texture of it, or the solidness of it, or using my hands to feel something around me, like kind of Amelie style, when she like sticks her hand in the bag of lentils. Tip number 2, ask questions, challenge the rules. If you're a person who has a habit of living in the past, it may be likely that you are repeating past behaviors and following rules that you created or even someone else created for you years and years and years and years ago. Maybe it's even that you follow the rules that you learned in school or that your parents taught you when you were a teenager or a child. And some of them may still stand. Some of them may still work for you today, resonate for you today. But when was the last time that you checked in and asked, do they still serve me? Do they still align with my values and the person that I am today? Or the person that I'm working on today? Not the 15-year-old that had to do what they were told and really had to fit in some way. For example, Do you want to still live by a grading system and being validated externally, or by a hierarchy of like popular kids versus cool kids and labeling yourself in that way? Our world your world and your personal world changes all the time. Even if you don't realize it because you're not living here, so you feel like everything is the same, it changes. It changes so often that the rules and the solutions of yesterday may not fit. They may not work for today. So to be here, ask yourself, what do I need today? What do I want today? The person that I am today, X-year-old person, what do they need? What are we trying to do today? What are we trying to create today? Make this a daily practice to actively communicate with the now you. And even if the answers match the past and you say, yep, I still stand by those values, yep, I still agree with that, at least it's a conscious and present decision made by you today. It also allows you to practice being here and checking in with where you're at, who you are, and how you feel now. So you can use this at work as well, at work or when you're studying, and just say, where am I? What do I need? If you catch yourself zoning out, check in with where you are and what you need. Let me know in the comments what rule you are going to stop living by. The one that you're like, actually, that doesn't serve me anymore, and I don't want to do that anymore. And say thank you and goodbye. Tip number 3 for living more presently. Forgive, forgive, forgive. This is a hugely, hugely powerful practice, even if you aren't focusing on practicing presence. It can assist your self-love, your self-acceptance, it can decrease stress. But for the purposes of this chat, forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving situations, forgiving the world is a really powerful practice to bring yourself into the now. Holding on to these hurts or regrets or whatever it is keeps you tethered to them, to the past, because literally, as it says, you are holding onto them. And now I say it all the time, but I have to say it again. Forgiveness is not about condoning behaviors or actions, and it's not about not taking your lessons. It's about making a conscious choice to free yourself from the energy it takes mentally and sometimes physically to hold on to that hurt, to hold on to the past. It's a conscious choice of choosing to walk out of the shadow, from underneath the cloud of that hurt, of that mistake, wrongdoing, and walk into today and use all of that extra energy here. It sounds simple. It's not necessarily easy, and it may not happen overnight, but the work will compound. Each small step or even shuffle is 100% worth it if you want to experience the present and you want to live in your life now and stop zoning out and looking back and feeling regret or feeling hurt. Forgiveness truly allows you to live in the present moment with who you really are today. It allows you to be defined by today and not by yesterday. 4th tip, managing worry. So worry is usually you living in the future, worrying about demands that won't be met or that you won't meet, we won't meet, the what ifs and the could be's. So it's really powerful and it's really useful for you to learn how to consciously redirect or direct your mental energy, or how to consciously switch it off. You know already that your mind is a tool which has a specific set of functions and does not need to be used for everything. You've probably even said the words to yourself or to someone else, I really need to switch off. You know that you can't run this machine, this tool 24/7. It's tiring and it needs time to replenish, and it's not the best at doing everything. So that's why it can be very tiring, because you're using a lot of energy trying to use a tool that doesn't necessarily work for what you're doing. A really quick way to redirect, direct, or switch off your mental energy is external distractions. For example, Netflix, music. Lots of us turn to booze and food and other things like that. But what is even more powerful and empowering is to train your mind to control your brain. through things like meditation, yoga, mindset, and breathwork. Those are a few of my favorites, which is probably no surprise to you. But the incredible thing about these techniques is that they compound. They compound. Unlike TV, food, alcohol, which deplete you, and you build a negative tolerance to, so you need it all the time in order to do the thing. And in fact, you need more of it because you have built this negative tolerance to it. So to reach the same level, you need more. These other practices, the yoga, the mindset, and all of those, they stick. Every time you practice it, you're adding more and more of it on top of the other. So you actually begin learning how to, and perhaps even living from this place of more mindfulness, more conscious direction of mental energy, knowing inherently when to switch on and off your brain. Plus, these skills are internal, so you can take them anywhere and everywhere you go. So if you find yourself in a place with no signal, no Netflix, no corner shop, you don't have to worry about managing your worry. Fifthly, or lastly, or tip number 5, whichever one makes the most sense, do things you love. How does this stop you from zoning out? How does this help you to live in the now? It puts you into a state of flow. I'm sure you've heard of this state before, but if not, then imagine a state of total absorption, of total focus. That time when you are doing something and you lose track of time. Not just the track, in fact, but the actual concept of time. You lose it. Like, what? That didn't feel like 3 hours. What happened? I know this sounds really counterintuitive because you're wondering, am I really present if I'm not even aware of time? But presence, in my opinion, is nothing to do with time. Time is something that we humans, they have made up. To me, presence is a state of focus, like meditation, like yoga, and all of those things. A state of focus not on time, but on the now, on this moment. Focus isn't timekeeping. Focus is just being here or there, wherever you are. No one has looked at a sunset and said, wow, this sunset is 7 minutes long. You just sit and you look at the sunset and you take it in and you're there and you feel it and you're with it. So that, to me, is focus and presence. But unlike meditation and yoga and mindset and all of those things, doing something you love is a much more accessible practice because you already love the thing and you already know how to do it or want to know how to do it. So it comes more naturally for a majority of us, mentally and physically, because some of us can't sit for a long time in meditation and some of us can't do yoga asanas. So this is about finding your yoga asana. It might be dancing, surfing, running, painting, reading. It's whatever allows you to be fully absorbed in the moment. So do the things you love. As much as you can, bring yourself back into the now and free yourself from the suffering and draining thing that is mental, unconscious mental time travel. For 10 minutes a day, for half an hour at lunch or before work or after work, 5 minutes during work if you can, whenever it is, whenever you can make time for it, because you deserve that. Because you deserve to be able to impact your life, enjoy your life, and experience your life. So, there we have it. Switch on your senses, get curious, challenge the rules, forgive, practice managing and directing your mental energy, and do things you love as much as you can. There are, of course, many more practices to cultivate presence and stop zoning out and time traveling. But through my own journey and work, I believe that these are the key foundations of it and the most accessible to a majority of us. I know that not everyone is in the same place on their personal development or spiritual journey, not everybody resonates in the same way. But all of us need this opportunity and this space to learn and practice. So let me know what your favorite tip was. Let me know what puts you into a state of flow. And of course, if you want more, subscribe. Hit that beautiful big red button wherever it is. Follow Positive Movement on Instagram and join the Facebook community for even more movement and mindset. And of course, before you go, don't forget to ring the bell so that you're notified when it's time for your next positive movement. Big love, and I'll see you in the next one.